I was like, who's
I'm on
Matilda?
it's my colleague's uh Zoom thing, but sure, let's go. Let's do
All
it.
right. Well, it's awesome to see you. It's been so long. What, like at least 5 years or something, huh?
Well, 2016, so that's 5 years this June.
Yeah, that's
Insane.
crazy. How have you been? What you been
Crazy.
up to?
Well, I've been good. Working in COVID.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the two major things going on right now. But no, I found a job this year.
Good for you.
So I finished my it's nice. So I finished my master's degree in marketing, and now I'm working full time. So in
Hey, you
France.
got your master's too?
Yeah, I got my master's degree just this year. So
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
And where are you working? Where are you working at now?
So I'm a project manager in the food and retail sector. So I work in Rouen, which is a small city. I mean, small, not that small compared to, cities in France, but if you
Right.
compare it to San Diego, it is pretty small. So I work in a small business as a project manager. So in the retailing industry.
Okay,
So it's
cool.
nice. It's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
I enjoy what I do. Yeah.
Is it
How
like
have you been?
I've been good. Just still in San Diego. Graduated, didn't get a master's, but I got a job, so that was good. And
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
I'm
great
excited.
news.
What's up?
That's cool. I
Yeah,
said that's great news.
yeah. It was
What are
definitely
you working in too?
safety engineering. I got my
Nice.
degree in
Wow.
mechanical engineering. Definitely had
That's
some miracles.
great.
Definitely had some miracles happen there.
Oh my,
You know,
I'm
I'm here
I'm
now,
sure
so.
it wasn't a miracle. You're fine. That's great. That's great news. I'm glad. I'm glad you got a job and everything
Yeah.
during this year, especially
Oh yeah,
with
it
all
was
that's been
like
going on.
such a tough job market. I was sending like hundreds of applications
Mm.
out. Um, was
Yeah,
it
I
was it
bet.
was it tough for you to get a job?
Yeah, I mean, I got a job. I got a job in the company that I did my first internship in 4 years ago. So because I was all out of ideas, honestly. I sent a bunch of resumes and I didn't get much answers. So that's when I decided to contact my old boss and see if he had any openings, and he did. He had someone going on maternity leave. So there I was. And so, it just happened like that. But I do feel like the job market was pretty tough. And it still is
Yeah.
for people my age and people looking for jobs. I think it's all over the world the same problem right now. But yeah, it is really tough. I have some friends, who ended the same master's I did and
Yeah.
who are struggling to find something to do. So but yeah, I think I'm lucky. It was just a
Yeah. I
lucky
mean, I'm
shot.
sure, yeah, getting that internship, I guess, really helped back then.
Right.
Having that
Yeah.
connection. Yeah.
I mean, it was my first year as I was doing my studies in business, and it was just my very very first internship. It lasted 2 months,
Oh wow.
so it was just really the first internship that I ever did, and so I just recontacted him and said, "Hey, is
Yeah.
there room for me?"
Yeah, it's like
But,
sometimes it's all about connections. So you gotta
exactly.
yeah.
LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn basically every day.
I think it's like so. I think there should be like way more emphasis on LinkedIn. Like even in high
Yeah,
school,
there isn't
I
much.
wish they should have like told us to make one because it would have been.
Right. We
I
never
do a lot of.
had any classes on that. On building your connections and your career. We never
Yeah,
really
I
talked
know.
about that.
I think like especially at Mission Bay High School, there's just way too much emphasis on like going to college when like probably
Right.
20% of our school even went to college. So
That's rough. That's
yeah, but
tough.
I mean, like,
But
there's nothing wrong with like getting a career after, but they should have at least like, kind of had classes on what you do after high school instead of going to college.
yeah, there
Yeah.
should have been more emphasis on that rather than college essays and sports
Right.
and prom or things that
Yeah, plus our prom was not that great.
I had fun.
You
I
did?
had fun
Okay.
at our prom.
Okay, maybe
Well,
I
I mean, I think everyone did. I
yeah.
hope.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't know.
It was fun.
It was a fun time. It was a fun time. It's
Yeah,
something you have to live, your prom.
right.
But yeah, it was fun, but we should have been focused on maybe some other aspects of our career, because I realized that I thought it was going to be so much easier than it is right now.
Right.
I thought it was just going to flow and be simple, but nope. Not really.
Yeah. And just like the amount of time you spend working, it's just crazy. Your
Mm.
day's like over. You're done working and then your day's just over.
Well, hey, I understand your frustration. You live in San Diego where it's sunny 99% of the year, whereas me, it's sunny 1% of the year.
Yeah.
So, when you're done with work, you just have to go home in the rain.
Oh no.
Of course, I'm exaggerating, but yeah, I get that being in San Diego where there's so many fun things to do.
Yeah.
Here too, it's just different. It's not the same.
Gotcha. What area of France is your job in?
So I live in the city called Rouen, and it's in Normandy. So it's on the west, in the west. It's about an hour and a half from Paris to the
nice.
northwest.
Yeah. I've been to Normandy before. When I was little, we had a French au pair.
Did she come from Normandy?
Yeah, I forgot what city, but it was awesome because her family had a bakery. And so like we visited her and we got to live in the bakery, and like in the morning you would just wake up to like the smell of pastries, and then our au pair's parents would just start like stuffing our faces with like eclairs and just like, and, like, oh my God.
Croissants and yeah, usually some people live in the bakery. They live like
above. Yeah, it was
above the shop. That's amazing. I would love having just a bakery right under where I sleep, and I could just wake up and go get some breakfast.
Oh my God, it was such a cool experience.
Probably wouldn't be good for my health though. But, that's great. I remember I think I remember you having an au pair.
Yeah, her name was Julie.
I do. Okay, now her name is pretty clear. Yeah, I think having an au pair is a great experience though, for both parts.
Yeah, definitely helped out my French. I don't know how great it is now, but
I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah.
I remember in Mission Bay, did you go to the French classes? Did you have any French classes?
Yeah, I took 1 year of IB French with Miss Frankel. Yeah, it was all right, but it could have been better. It was definitely better.
What have you been up to these past 5 years?
That's a lot of time.
It is.
Well, I think like the most eventful thing that happened is I went to Senegal for my study program, and that was that was such a cool experience. I don't know if you've ever been there or like know about Senegal.
I mean, I know about it. I've never been. I know it's it's just a completely different place. That's crazy. So why did you pick Senegal?
Yeah, so I wanted to go somewhere where I could speak French, and I've always wanted to go to Africa and just see like a different part of the world. And I knew like part of me was like, oh, Europe sounds fun, but like if I go there, I think I'm just gonna party the whole time. And I kind of like want to break from that and just to like immerse in a culture. And it was also really cool because the city I was in called Dakar, it was on the coast, so you could surf there, and it was just really beautiful. Wow. And
but the life is pretty different though. It's like it's a shock.
Yeah,
culture shock.
It's very different, and like it's surprising. I thought way more people actually spoke French there, but it's pretty much only like the wealthier people who speak French there. So I probably should have guessed. And the main language they speak there is called like Wolof, and it's like a West African language. So like if you would even go like 30 minutes inland, like no one would really speak French anymore. Like people would know like a few words in French, and that's it.
Did you learn the local language then?
Like barely. But enough to get
that's
like
amazing. I think it's great. I think it's great that you picked, a place that not many people pick. When they go abroad, they usually go to Europe or, Australia or, Asia, and you picked, I think that's amazing. That's great. I'm sure you learned a ton. Did you stay there
Yeah,
a year
I went
or
for
6 months?
a semester. But yeah, it's just like super
That's
humbling.
awesome.
Just really like made me appreciate what I had, and
I
um
bet.
I would love to go visit again. Um were
Well,
you
maybe once this COVID thing is over.
yeah, I know. We're getting close. We're getting close. How was your college experience in France? And like I also wondered like why did you end up going back to France for college? I'm sure we talked about it at some point, but I can't remember why.
I think we had many conversations
Yeah.
about that. But I mean, I went back because, well, first of all, college in America is just insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really ready to be in debt, starting my adult life and starting my career. But it wasn't just that, it was also that, I had always lived in this bicultural American French culture. And I had always lived in America, but I wanted to get to know, how is it living in France? I would go twice a year for vacation, but living and being on a vacation somewhere is not the same.
Right.
So I really just wanted to kind of get the best of both worlds, and just live there and then see which one I'd rather live in later.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense actually. And
But yeah, I think I made a good decision in that sense. I felt like I needed to at the time. I needed
yeah,
to go back. I mean, not back because I had never been, but I needed to go there
yeah,
and live
like
there and experience the
discover your
culture there.
roots a little bit. I'm sure you have like family there too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my family around. My grandparents. My dad is still there. My dad is still in San Diego with my stepsister.
Okay.
With my half sister, sorry. And my mom moved back here a
Oh,
couple of
nice.
years ago with my stepdad and my stepbrothers, and so I do have my whole family here. But my college experience was pretty cool. I went abroad too for a year in Spain. I went to Spain because I wanted to really. I mean, I spoke a bit of Spanish before, but I
Yeah.
really wanted to perfect it. And so I went to Leon, which is a really small town.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours from Madrid,
Okay.
so to the north.
Gotcha.
Um, and it was an amazing experience. I mean, at first it was tough. I'm not going to lie to you. It was really hard. Because I had moved to France, and then a year later I moved back. It was just a lot
Yeah.
of moving, and just wanted to stay somewhere for a little
Yeah.
bit. So it was really tough, but it ended up being an amazing experience. Like you said, humbling. And I think I grew so much there. I mean, you just learn so much about yourself and
Right.
about other cultures, and even in terms of language. So that was great. And then I came back and I finished my master's, and here we are.
Yeah.
But I think college is very different here than in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's two different worlds completely.
I know, because I think a lot of like college in the US is about the experience and like
Right.
not
Having fun,
necessarily,
partying.
yeah, and, like I guess making those connections, but yeah, a lot of it is the experience. So in France, was it more just like, did you live on campus or did you live?
No, it doesn't really work that way. It's kind of they separate the your home where you live and the school. It's much different. You don't live in your school. You don't live for your school. It's um so I mean, there are activities, there are associations, there are fun activities. You party, of course you party. Plus I was in a business school, and
Yeah,
business schools have kind of that reputation here.
yeah,
But it's much different. And I mean, there is a lot of focus on, working, and there's a lot of competition, especially in business again. And schools are way smaller too, because the schools are specialized. As in, like, for example, if you go to UCLA, you can study medicine or you can study history. Whereas here, usually, there's a school of business, there's a school for medicine, there's a school for engineering. It's very separated in that sense.
gotcha.
So you can't really you know, I thought about it because when I came to visit in February of 2017, which was 4 years ago, I went to UCLA to visit my best friend, and I just thought, wow, this is so different. She can talk to people who are doing completely different studies than her, who are in
Right.
completely different, you know, grades. Whereas here, it's very like click. Like I'm in the fourth year, you're first year, so you stick with the first year. So
Right.
I don't know how it is in the U.S., but that's how it is here, kind of. And I just miss being able to mix around with other people, not just in
Right.
my grade and not just in business.
So you
You
kind
know?
of just like stick to your classes, and you're like always in the business
Yeah,
school.
it's
Yeah.
kind of annoying. Yeah, you want more sometimes. You want to see other people who are doing something different. You know?
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I guess that could be more of like the US experience, but you definitely pay for it. You definitely,
Exactly, it's different.
yeah. Yeah. Like, do you mind if I mind asking how much you paid for like your college in France?
Well, I no, of course not. Well, it's that's the thing is that it's for here for France, it's so expensive. I mean, I paid 10,000 euros for my first 3 years, and
Oh,
then 16,000 for my master's. So here it's like, oh my god, but for you, it's peanuts. You know,
right, right.
it's nothing at all.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to see the difference in perception. Here, people are like, what? You paid that much to go to college? You know? And you paid how much?
Yeah, a lot. It was like around 30 a year. So
See, that's insane. That is
yeah.
completely crazy. So you say that to someone here, and they're just gonna freak out. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm sure.
But
So so what made you like your school so expensive for France?
well, business schools in
Okay.
because okay, so they're private because private schools are always more expensive than if you go to regular university, which I guess is the equivalent um of you know, like, how do you call that? Like, for example, Mesa College, I don't know, Mesa
Community
College, for
college?
example, and thank you, community college and bigger universities, state universities, you know, I
Right.
think that's the difference. And so here it's expensive because it's, you know, it's business school, and we had to go abroad. So there was this whole
Yeah.
international aspect that isn't necessarily present in all the other schools. So yeah, but mostly what makes them expensive is that they're just private, and that you could go to the university and get a degree there, but it's not the same level of, um, well, of course, it's not the same payment, but it's not the same level of, you know, what you get. You get just, I'm not going to say better. I don't know if it's better because I didn't go to the university, but it's just different. You get
Right.
maybe
And I'm sure
more
that
of
like
international experience.
yeah, I'm sure that funding like makes a difference in your courses and like the programs they do. So
Well, they put what they say makes a difference is that it makes a difference because you have access to the whole alumni. We were talking about connections earlier, and you really get. I think it's also a part of image. I mean, perhaps if you go to the university and if you go to a business school, you're going to get the same level of education. It's
right.
just a matter of saying I come from this school, you
Yeah.
know, which I find kind of what's the word? I find it unfair for
Yeah.
some,
That
you know,
was
who don't have the money to.
right.
And when recruiters look at their resume and you see someone coming from this school or someone from the university, maybe they're going to make their choice just based on what's written there.
Right.
But
I
I guess that's what makes the difference too, is the image that
think
comes out of it. But
if you
I
can
was lucky to be able to and
yeah, yeah.
had a great experience. But I'm sure university is great as well.
Dang. So when you decided to do business, did you ever think you were going to end up in the food industry?
No, I had no idea. I started, so there was just these whole years of me thinking I wanted to be sorry, it's hard. I speak French every day, all day, and
Yeah,
then
I'm
I
like, you're doing
have to
great in
speak
English.
English.
Like your English sounds good.
I wanted to be darn it, you know, in the planes, an air,
A flight attendant?
as a flight attendant.
Yeah.
That was for a little while, and then
Okay.
I really wanted to, I really wanted to work in medicine, you know, pediatrician or something.
Yeah.
I even did an internship at Kaiser.
Oh, cool.
I mean, an internship. It's not like a week of observation. It's not really an internship.
I know.
But and then I realized that medicine was probably not what I was meant for, because
Okay.
I am kind of a hypochondriac, so maybe not the great way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but and then I just decided, hey, business, kind of not really knowing what it was going to bring me. Just more of, I'm international. I like human relationships, and I just started that, and I had no clue, no idea. I literally decided I wanted to work in the food and retail industry just maybe a year ago.
Wow.
That's when it really hit me that I wanted to work in that. But I guess I just needed to give myself some time, and you go through the internships and you go through the education, and then you just realize, hey, this is really what I want to do. And I love to eat. I love marketing. I love retailing just because it makes me feel close to the consumers, because they're just like me, whereas luxury and all, it's different. I wouldn't really feel like I'm like them in a way. So I really like retailing, and then I specialized it in food retailing because, well, it's awesome. I love to eat. I love food. I love,
Right,
so
right.
that's how that's how I decided.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's so nice, because with like a business degree, you kind of have a lot of options, and you could pretty much go into any industry. So you can always like move around too, and just like try different things. But it sounds like you're enjoying your job right now. So like, what do you do on the day to day in your like marketing job? Like, what goes into food marketing?
So I it's a business that is a consulting business. So we work with international companies from the UK, from Ireland, from America, and we're going to help them develop themselves on the French market. So right now, for example, I'm working with an American company for kefir. I'm working with kefir. It's
I drink it sometimes.
Fermented. Yeah. You do great. It's like fermented milk. It tastes kind of like a yogurt to drink. And then I work with Irish fishermen who do marinated fish. And then I work with a juice company. I work with Little Moons, which is a mochi, little ice cream mochis, a Japanese dessert, who are in the UK. And so basically, you first have to look at the French market and say to yourself, hey, is there room for this kind of product? Do people enjoy this kind of product? Where do you sell it? And then you have to build the whole strategy behind it, the whole marketing strategy, the communication, the logistics that go behind it. And then you just have to contact retailers and sell your product, basically. So it's a lot of different missions that I have to do. And that's why it's interesting to me. And without COVID, I would have already been to Chicago or to Dublin,
Oh yeah.
Because you go and you see your clients.
That's so cool.
So that's also what I love about it. Well, I hope soon.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy though, because you have to kind of like understand like what the country or what France is like feeling right now in terms of food, and just like evaluating that. Because I'm like,
exactly,
because I can't see like how French people could change their breakfast routine of like Nutella and baguette or whatever. Like that is just like a staple.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
Can you
No,
even
it changes.
the breakfast food, or has it been like, does the food kind of what people eat evolve in France?
I think it has. I think it has, because we have more and more, vegan products, which is something that did come from the US. And we have, a lot more, gluten-free or so I think things are changing. You see you imagine a French person eating their baguette with butter every morning, but I think it changes. We have another client with my colleagues is granola, for example, or, we're trying to bring, and our business specializes in, healthy kind of trendy foods. For example, things that you don't see every day on the French market. So that's why we try to differentiate ourselves and bring in new things. But it's super interesting. It's tough, it's stressful, because you have so much that you have to deal with on a daily basis. Like I said, logistics, and I'm not an expert in logistics. I'm not an expert in, buying and purchasing, but you have to touch base with all these different aspects. But it's super interesting, and
Right.
I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, and like, I guess that I'm sure there's times where like people will pitch you a product and then you're like, oh, this is like not gonna work. Like,
Absolutely.
how do you break it to them?
Well, that's the job of my colleague.
Okay.
She works so she's the business developer. So she's the one so she comes to me and tells me, I have a new client for you. But I had the same question that you did, and I asked her,
Yeah.
do we say yes to everyone? Because some might be, really not fitted for the French market. And she says, no, we don't say yes to everyone. We examine it, we look online, and we read magazines to see, could this product potentially work? And we just use our what we know, and what our experience to say, I don't think you're gonna work here. And then we say no to some, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's a majority. But
Okay.
yeah, you can't just say yes
To every right.
random. You have to. It has to be an educated yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad you don't have to do that, Joe, because I would have trouble being like, your product just doesn't work here. Like, I would have trouble saying that to someone.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So how do you go about like marketing? Do you like make the ads, or do you decide where the ads are going to get posted?
It depends, because we don't really have much to say in terms of the way the client, because we're basically the intermediaries between the French retail buyers and our clients.
Right.
So I'm not a marketing executive for them. I work kind of in between. So we don't really have much to say on their packaging, or we don't really have much to say on the way that they do advertisements or their flavors, for example. But we can definitely work in terms of how we're going to advertise this product in France. But we do have to stick with their ways of doing, with their packaging, their colors, their things. But for example, we do a lot of Instagram. So next week I have to launch the Instagram account for one of my clients. And so I will be the one in charge of that, for example. Or for example, flyers, or other ads. I recently sent some samples to an Instagram blogger. So I can decide what I do with, the marketing side of France. But you also have to keep in mind their budget, in terms of, we can't really have a full billboard on the street. That's too expensive. So you do have to, you can have ideas, but they have to confirm them. They have to say, okay, we can do that, or we can't. And that's kind of frustrating sometimes, because it's a good idea and you just wish they could, but or they don't have the budget, or they don't agree, or so that's my job in terms of marketing.
Gotcha. So like, what's your title at the company? Like marketing officer or something?
No, project manager.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fancy.
So. Your job sounds fancy too. Are you kidding?
No, that's like really interesting though. Just like kind of evaluating the whole French food market, and then like trying to get them into stores in France. Do you
the best part is tasting.
Oh, you get to taste too?
Oh, of course. Yeah, they send you samples. I always get huge boxes of food to taste.
I'd just be like, you know what? I don't think I really know the taste yet. Could you send me like
right.
one of
Can
those?
you please send me some more? Or it got lost. I never received it. Can you please send me more? I would love to, honestly. But, yeah, that's a great part too.
Gotcha. And like after your work day, have you been able to like do anything for fun, or?
A very funny Simon. I'm just kidding, but I mean, I would love to. I would love to hop on in the movies or go to the restaurants. Right. But everything is closed here, so.
Oh yeah, dang.
I think that France and the United States deal with it very differently.
Yeah. I don't know. The US, I think, just like screwed so many companies like financially. Like the way France dealt with it by like giving money to companies instead of like, and then shutting them down, and then in the US just like shutting them down and not giving them any money. But then like having the whole curfew thing in France at 6 sounds like such a
It's
drag.
crazy. Well, I feel like the United States didn't close many shops or restaurants, so I feel like everything's open
Depends
and
what
everyone
state you
lives
are
the
in.
same way. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, California then is just open everywhere.
well, California was actually closed more. Like there was a point where the restaurants closed and they were just outdoor. Then you had to put shield for like a few weeks. You had to put
Oh,
shields in between them, and then they just closed restaurants completely. And I felt so bad for all like the restaurant owners
yeah,
because
of
like
course.
they had planned for all these like new changes and they were down for it, but then they had to close completely and they had already invested in that. So like a lot of them have gone out of business. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember Soup Plantation, but they're gone. They're gone,
No.
and just so many. And like
Their
the
mac and
government,
cheese.
yeah, like if the government had compensated them, then that would like make more sense to shut them down. But if you're like taking people's livelihoods away,
Right.
doesn't make as
I
much sense.
mean, here they got compensation, but it's
Yeah,
nothing compared to the money that they could have made. So
right.
some even with the compensation had to close because it's been
Uh,
what? It's been I,
a
maybe
year
6 months. Well, they reopened this
okay,
summer, the restaurants, but
gotcha.
then they closed back up in, I don't want to say something stupid, but I think it was in September, October that they closed back down, and they haven't been open since. And they're allowed to do takeaway, but
Yeah,
less people
makes
do
barely.
that, of course.
Yeah,
And all the small boutiques, so clothes or anything, they're closed, and they don't have the money behind to stay open. So it's super sad. But then again, I don't know what the government should have done, because if they left them open, I mean, the cases, so it's really tough. It's a tough decision. But I do feel like living in California right now and living where I'm living is just totally different, because we barely leave our house.
yeah, and like the
Barely.
curfew is crazy. Like you have to be
Yeah.
like home by 6 o'clock, right?
You have to be home by 6 o'clock. And lately, and now we're on lockdown. So that means that
Oh no.
you have to have the paper signed if you go above 10 kilometers from where you live.
Holy moly.
So, so yeah, and it's been that way for quite a while. And with the curfew, you had to have that paper if you were out of your house after 6, and then before 6 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
But now we're just locked down. Everything's closed. Restaurants, shops, everything. So what do yesterday was the weekend, so I just went on a walk, but what else are you going to do? I can't go 10
That's a
kilometers
lot.
from my house.
Um,
So it's pretty tough,
yeah,
actually. But
yeah. Have you been able to like get a vaccine since you work in the food industry, or is that
mm,
no?
no, because here it works and this makes me very mad, but
Yeah,
here the vaccines, first of all, are super slow.
yeah,
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they did, but they did really bad.
yeah.
So, and so here, the vaccine, it's starting to increase, but it's just very slow. And so you have to be 65 or older to get the vaccine, or you have to have a very, like, an illness that
Risk.
requires, at very high risk, for example. But so I haven't been able to get it yet. My grandparents have, so that's already, a good thing. How is the vaccine going in the US? I feel like you could get it, right?
Yeah, I'm actually getting my second dose in a few days.
That's
So
amazing. What,
yeah,
Pfizer?
Moderna.
That's
So
great. That's amazing.
yeah,
I'm so
I'm
jealous.
not super excited for the reaction that comes after, because I heard it you can be sick for a few days after. But
Well, you weren't sick after the first one, so why would you
I,
be sick after this one?
apparently the second one is supposed to
Is
like
worse.
yeah, everyone I know has been like sick in some sort of way, but I
Well,
heard
my grandparents who are 80
yeah.
got both, and they didn't even have, like, not even a headache or anything.
Really?
So
Maybe I'll be
yeah.
lucky. I did hear though that like if your immune system is like good or like really good, and if you're younger, you tend to have a stronger reaction because like your immune
Oh,
system
really?
is reacting more to like
Oh,
they put in
okay.
you. So we'll see. But At least
You'll
I'll
be
be
fine.
immune, and then I won't have to like worry about anything after. Just
Exactly.
like
I think
worry
that's
about
great.
infecting anyone.
So how come you can get vaccinated?
So with my job, I was like a contractor for hospitals.
Oh, okay.
I
So
guess.
it's basically over there, they're vaccinating older people, but if you have a certain job, you can.
So it started with like essential health workers. So anyone who worked in like hospitals or were like treating COVID patients, or just certain essential services were treated. But now,
Right.
pretty much, I think in like a week or something, anyone will be able to get it. I'm not 100%
Right.
sure about that, but I think it's like in a week or two.
That would be amazing. That's
Yeah.
great.
And I think like we're gonna have like a surplus of vaccines soon, so we'll probably like the US will probably end up like shipping them to wherever.
I hope.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope France will be at that stage in a couple months or so, because there are so many people that want to get vaccinated but that can't. And I find that just so ridiculous, and it just makes me so mad. But I can't really do anything.
Right. So do you just end up like binging a lot of Netflix at home, or after work?
Well, I do work a lot.
Okay.
I have some long days. So after, I love cooking. I love reading. But then again, during the weekend, what you do is you go grocery shopping, and then you go maybe for a little walk or something.
Right.
And that's nice. Right now, the weather has been pretty good, so I'm enjoying that. I try to work out a little bit. You try to just change your habits, but my life isn't the most interesting one right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, for everyone, I'm sure. Yeah. What about your dating life? How's that been? in COVID?
Well, I've been with someone for the past 4 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
we recently just moved into this new apartment in January. So I am really, really lucky in that sense, that even though there was COVID, I did get kind of silver lining of being able to move into a new apartment and getting a job. And but yeah, I've been with someone since 2016. When I came back from the US, it didn't take me long.
That's crazy. Damn, and you're living together. Yeah, I have a girlfriend, so it's like very nice right now.
Great. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm really happy.
Very, very far from like having her move in with me, but
well, take it slow.
4 years.
4 years before we moved in together.
But luckily, yeah, like there hasn't been any like reason for me not to see her because of COVID, so that's been great. But
yeah, she lives in San Diego. Then you guys must live in the same city then.
Yeah, she lives in San Diego too.
Yeah, that makes it easier.
yeah, for sure. I feel bad though, because I was talking to Victor, Victor Manuri.
Yeah, of course.
And he's just like, he's single right now, and I'm feeling bad for him living in
well,
he was just saying like, if
I guess dating is hard.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah.
And he was telling me like, whenever he would see like, I guess other girls in whatever social thing he was doing, like being COVID low key, that they were like all in a relationship. None of them were single.
Well, maybe some make that excuse up so that they won't really, with COVID, they maybe want to say, hey, can you stay a little bit further away from me? No, dating is really, really tough. I mean, I feel bad for all the, the single people lately, because they're all alone. And you can't, usually the places where you would go and I guess meet people is, in bars or in social outings, and we have zero lately. So it's a tough time to be single and wanting to date. But,
right. Do you like,
hopefully,
have people been using like dating apps in France and like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a lot more. I mean, I have a friend who's just always on these apps, and I feel, COVID, I think, has definitely made those dating apps turnover go up.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess that they're happy because that's the only way that people can, that they can meet. Otherwise, where are you going to meet? At the grocery shop? At the grocery store? It's not really very romantic.
Yeah, just like
But
going to
then again,
time.
even with dating apps, I would be kind of afraid to see someone that I barely know,
Right.
with COVID, and
Yeah.
say, where has he, where has they been? Where have they been? Or, it's still kind of weird, but I guess it works for some people.
Yeah. Do you know if they've like if people have actually like met up after
Yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do, and that's what kind of shocks me. But it's my opinion,
right?
but yeah, it would be. I think I would have a really hard time doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure
Saying,
people are like,
where.
yeah, just like stir crazy though. Like, well, at some point when you're at home like that long and you're by yourself, you're just like I don't care anymore. Like,
No, that's for sure.
yeah, I mean,
That's for sure, and it's really sad because I mean, I'm going to talk about something really terrible, but suicide rates have gone up in terms of students who live, in very small apartments, and
yeah,
so it's an awful time. It really is, and people are manifesting outside and saying you have to open schools, you have to do this, but
right.
it's also tough for the government because I mean, it's just a horrible time to be alive, man. It's just I'm so tired of this.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like hoping people can like try to find the positives from it, but it's like hard because you don't.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to know what's the right option because like, is it better like in the long term to like try to have things open, or like I don't know, because it was crazy. Like
I
I
know.
know I know in like Florida they were maybe like shut down for only like a week total.
Wow.
But like their like deaths were like average in the US, even though they were open the whole time. And they have like the oldest population there. So like
That's
maybe
crazy.
they were doing something like staying open wasn't as bad, or I don't know. But it'll be
I
really
don't
weird to
know.
like look back and like when we have kids or whatever, just tell them about like
Yeah.
what happened during.
No, I think you're right that we do have to see the positive. I mean, I was kind of exaggerating when I say it's horrible. I mean, um, like I said, I have to be thankful for what I have, and other people are in horrible situations. My family's in good health. I'm in good health. I have a job, so I really can't say that it's horrible. I really can't. That would be just insensitive. But what I mean is that it's just difficult in terms of human relationships because I haven't
Yeah,
seen. I was supposed to come to San Diego last May, but obviously it was not possible. But
right.
it's just my dad lives in San Diego. I haven't seen him for almost 2 years.
Wow.
My best friend as well. My grandparents, I barely see them because you want to protect them. So I just mean it in that sense. It's just hard because you can't really see the ones you love and you can't really be close to them. But I totally agree that you have to find the positive and you have to find something to do, like you did, I guess, with your podcast. And you just, you took COVID and you turned it into something that could be fun. And I think that's great. So
Yeah.
I've been cooking, just reading a lot of as many books as I can a week, and just trying to find something different to do.
Right.
But
Right.
we'll get through it.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna be like so appreciative of everything, and I hope after this
Yeah,
everyone's gonna
I
be like,
hope. I
hugs
hope.
everywhere. We all love each other. Like,
Yay, group
yeah,
hug.
yeah. I want the biggest
Yeah,
group hug after this is over.
right. I know.
Yeah, yeah,
I wish there could be a high school reunion soon, though. I
yeah.
would love that so much.
That could be cool.
But I don't know if it comes. I mean, I think maybe 5 years is too soon. I think it's usually many more years after that they happen. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah.
I would love that, honestly. I wish. I hope that in August I can come.
Yeah,
I'm really crossing my fingers that we can air travel again.
yeah,
Air
yeah.
travel, that we can just travel.
Definitely. We'll definitely have to catch up if you come by.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I don't know if you knew the name of this podcast is 30 and Under. So like towards the end of the podcast, I ask every person like what is their goal that they want to achieve before they turn 30.
Wow. Well, I would say that's tough. That's a
Yeah,
tough question. There's so much I want
you
to
gotta
achieve.
think about it sometimes.
Well, before I turn 30, I want to travel a lot more. I want to have seen a lot more different countries and have experienced many more things. I want to really build a career, I mean, I have a full-time job right now, but it's a terminated contract, so it ends in August, or maybe it'll continue. I don't know yet.
Gotcha.
But I really want, to have an international career where I can travel and meet different people. I want to start a family also before I'm 30. I think that would be one of my really main goals in terms of personal life.
Yeah.
But I think those are already pretty big goals before I turn 30. I mean, I'm 22.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess just do the things I love, be around the people I love, and yeah, just be happy, I guess. Happier than I am right now.
I'm sure that's all gonna come. I'm sure that's all gonna come.
I hope so.
Yeah, those are great goals, and I hope you can come to San Diego soon. We can hang out.
Oh, I would love to. That's literally all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about In-N-Out. I'm thinking about the beach, Law Street, Hump House. I'm thinking about all that. I really need to go back soon, really soon, for my sanity.
That's awesome. All right. Well, do you want to give any shout outs to anyone or shout out anything you're doing before we end this?
Shout out to, my entire family. Shout out to Graciela. She knows who she is. Shout out to all the Mission Bay people that I went to school with, and that I remember. And, I remember all the crazy times we had. And yeah, shout out to everyone that is around me, I guess. And shout out to you for doing this awesome podcast. And
thanks.
Yeah. And thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome to have you on. Hopefully we can do this again.
It was great. Would love to.
All right. Bye, Emily.
Bye, Simon.